What's up, everybody? Well, all these hieroglyphs and all that we're seeing all over the world, big, huge structures with detail that you can't duplicate today. Obviously, the fallen ones and their offspring are the ones who did that. I think that's why the Egyptians started doing it too, mirroring the, you know, knowledgeable civilization that was before them or seemed to be before them. I also think that was the crafts and everything that they've seen in the sky. I think that's where they got the knowledge of space, or supposedly space, even though all stars look like light shining through water. Yeah, when you look at them through a telescope, no matter how close you zoom in and all this, they don't look like what people say they do. Even Saturn and supposedly all that. Uh, there's people that say you can see the rings and all this, and I've looked through some really really good telescopes and never seen no rings. So that's what I think. That's why I think the story of werewolves, vampires, zombies, all that stuff comes from. Yeah, I think aliens are just another. I don't know if it's another spirit, but I do know it's one of the spirits from that side, and somehow they found a way to come through. Now, I don't know if that's from them doing all these satanic rituals and CERN, or if CERN was like a upgrade to their rituals. Because a lot of people say that that thing is to open portals to let entities through. We that could be being said to try to either mirror or cover up uh, the fallen angels coming out of the Euphrates, or that could have been what let less like devious but not as strong entities through, like Nephilim spirits, which I don't know how that's possible either, because they're even them are supposed to be at rest until Jesus returns. Everybody that dies is supposed to be at rest. The only spirits that aren't are demons, fallen angels, and demons. Well, I already know the demonic spirit of Eve is left on the earth. Maybe it's the evil spirits that are left uh, not at rest. Maybe they are doomed to wander in torment. I don't know. But that's part of necromancy. Uh, God never, as far as I know, He hasn't specified that. Now, there's other people that have specified, but, or, took a stab at it, speculated, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that's what Stonehenge was. I think that was a seance and sacrificial thing, because they were in a circle too, and that was a circle. I'm just saying, I think we've already accepted the mark. Like I said, I believe it's money. And what it means by accepted in the right hand or forehead, I think that's telling you from physical to digital, as in you used to receive gold, silver, or, coin or cash in the right hand for general. Yeah, a lot of people used to get a dollar sign tattooed on the palm of their right hand. Then, when they switched to cards and digital, your bank account or your money that you have is on your mind. You see a digital amount or a digital number, and that's your amount. So, therefore, it's stored in the brain. See that? Basically, it's telling you it went from being a physical mark to a imaginary mark. And if you think about it, that's what money went to. It went from a digital or a tangible item to a computer generated item on a screen, which technically means it ain't real. It's just saying, hey, we'll allow you to have these many credits. Oh. But yeah, I believe that's why the Rothschilds moved into banking. I believe that's why all these top tier families started, you know, all these secret societies. I think they were evil people getting away with evil things, so they continued. Next thing you know, government is built. They use everything to take it over, and then slowly but surely move into everything that their dad told them to do. Now, I do think they took it their own way and did it their own way. Yeah, maybe it was more evil than what their dad intended. I don't know. All I know is uh, these Jewish families, dude, they don't care about nobody. They don't. And I've been around real Jewish families. I've watched what they do. It was the first church I ever heard kids cussing at, and I'm like, what? What does that mean the church you went to was right? No, it doesn't. It shows the mirroring and the fact that it's manipulating, because it might have got on kids for cussing like this one didn't. But what's to say just because it got on kids for cussing and appeared to be following the law doesn't mean it was. It's worshiping on the wrong day. It's having you give money to be a part of their, you know, group or whatnot. So there's a lot of questions there. No, no, not every church that asks for money to keep everything running is a bad church. But I remember saying all that to my grandmother when I would go to church with her. And then the church where we were at, the one pastor passed away and they got a new one. And this new one, he was great. Everybody loved him. I mean, real good guy. Seemed like he was really, really into God and all that. And was one of the greatest pastors that church has ever seen, besides the one that passed away. Come to find out, he was stealing millions of dollars from the church. Yeah, he stole over like close to 2.5 or somewhere in that range. Yeah. Which I didn't even think that church generated that much cash, but I guess it did. Because, yeah, man. Well, a lot of the elders from the church and people that go to it, they pay tithings and all that. One, to keep the church running. Two, to upgrade the church, and two, to have, or three, to have their little celebrations and whatnot. So, but once I started learning about, pagan holidays and what they really followed and seeing that these churches on Sunday follow them, I'm like, whoa, put the brakes on. Because they even call it Easter, Christmas, and all this. They don't call it Passover, Jesus' birthday, blah, 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 blah. I mean, on our birthday, we get gifts, right? So on Jesus' birthday, shouldn't he get gifts instead of us? But it's turned into a rat race for families to get stressed out, possibly lose their homes and everything else just to make sure their kids don't feel forgotten on Christmas. Yeah. Something tells me department stores started that, just like Valentine's Day. That tells me that department stores and people with diamonds and jewelry started that on. Yeah, what happens if during like one of these depression eras stuff wasn't selling so good, so they started coming up with that, and it turned into holidays. Just like the real root of Christmas is closer, and I don't want to say closer because, and people are like, well, that means maybe they just know. The real root of Christmas is closer to what they depicted Krampus, the Krampus movie, the little demon that runs around as Santa. Yeah, that's close to it. But it used to be a guy dressed up in a red suit, and he would go around to your house collecting your firstborn for bail. Yes, and if you did not, they would come down your chimney, hurt you, your whole family, and then light your house on fire as they were leaving. Yes, that is where that came from. Well, it used to be a big bonfire in the center of the town, and then everybody would take their firstborn there and sacrifice that child to Baal. Then it got turned into somewhere along the line that they just came around to your house. Kind of like Solomon and Gomorrah would come around, wanting to get to know people. And what they meant by get to know you was not, hey, how you doing? What's your name? They wanted to see you like OnlyFans wants to know people or gets to know people. You know what I mean? Yes, and Sodom and Gomorrah, they would shun you and look at you weird if you did not walk around with revealing clothing on. Like, the clothing that women wear that I call a screen because it doesn't hide anything and they know it. Um, Sodom and Gomorrah used to do that too. That's where, they took on a lot of the Egyptian and Indian stuff like Kama Sutra and arts of seduction, things like that. Which that's where mainly Jezebel and Jezebel spirit and all that. That's basically where that comes from. Streetwalkers and stuff like that. Well, God didn't hate whores. He hated fornication. He loved the person. He hated what they did. Of course, if he encountered you, as long as you weren't trying to attack him or fight him, he was nice to you, even though you were in the wrong. Duh. All these people, well, if he's nice, that means you're not in trouble. No, it doesn't. It means you can still be in trouble. It's just he's not showing anger. The few times that God and Jesus did show anger was towards government, bankers, and money. You know, basically evil things. is what he got mad about. People being evil and trying to get over on people, which is what our government does now. There's a certain group of people they just keep in a constant daze, as I call it. Yep, and those are the slaves. Now, the elites are the ones that the slaves are running for. That way, the elites can sit back and do all this dirty shit. And the government obviously is intrigued by it because they're protecting it and trying to make us act like, oh, well, everybody follows these rules. No, they don't. Apparently, the elites have a different set of rules because they're the ones that control all the government people's lives, as in their cars, their houses, everything they have is because of a bank. And all that bank's got to do is be like, nope. And what are they going to do? They already own the judges, they already own the cops, they already own the courts. So, what are you going to do? Right, you would have to turn away from this life and lose everything, which means you hold no power anymore to these people that are still running around in this delusional way of living. Yeah, it sucks when you get caught in a fantasy versus reality and realize you should never have chosen that delusional reality. Huh? Well, you're caught in it. Yep. And I'm noticing what we're doing wrong. I think that's why we all know that there's something that feels off every time we go to work and leave our families behind. Every time we get in that metal box filled with combustible fluid and find our way to work or home. And we just get so used to the fact that he's keeping us safe that we start to think it's us. Then we start to think, you know, tomorrow, 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 when you're not promised the next 2 minutes, let alone tomorrow. None of us pay attention to that until something happens. We're alive every 2 minutes because of him. If he never made air, how would we breathe? Right. And nobody ever even thinks about that. It's so simple, so common, you're so used to it, you don't even think about that you've taken every one of those breaths for granted. Even though these jerks in the world have put so much stuff in the air to kill you, and you're still not dying. They've put so much stuff in your food, they've done so much stuff to you, and you're still walking through it. But nobody stops to pay attention to. Science says there's no reason why that should be happening. If you go by science and the chemicals that we're ingesting every day, whether we know it or not, we should have been dead, all of us, a long time ago. And we're not. Yeah, that obviously means something that we cannot see is protecting us. Because if it wasn't, science would have kicked our butts by now. So obviously, whatever it is unseen and has to be. And obviously, we have a name for it, but nobody believes that's what it is. I don't have any other explanation because every which way you turn it, the human body cannot withstand that. But we So something is defying what we know as science. What gave me the first notion of that is when I got appendicitis, and I didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what was going on. My mom thought it was a stomach bug. Uh, Ended up dealing with that for 4 days, and on Sunday, I finally got taken to a hospital and found out that I had an exploded appendix. It had ruptured, and if anybody knows anything about an appendix, there's poison and stuff inside there that can cause all kinds of infections and whatnot. And obviously, something was happening because I couldn't sit on a chair, I couldn't move, I couldn't stand. I could still talk. I was alert and all that. I was slowly dying. But anyway, yeah, they couldn't get an IV in me. They couldn't freaking uh, get me ready for surgery. Nothing. Not until my grandmother came in there and prayed on me. Then all of a sudden, IV went in fine. They got it right away. Uh, and within 5 minutes after that prayer, I was in surgery. Now, all that poison that was in my body should have destroyed my organs, should have messed me up to where I could have came out with a colostomy bag. I could have came out with RIP above my head. Um, None of that happened. Most people, they're in the hospital for 2 months. I was in there for a week. Yep, after a week, I was ready to go. Trump, the fallen angel disclosure. Imagine that fallen angel disclosure and alien disclosure all of a sudden. Tucker breaks silence. This is insane. Yeah, supposedly Israel held Tucker Carlson for questioning. Israel, and I'm talking to the leaders, y'all better give it up. You're not that powerful. We're not scared of you. And this little shenanigan is only going to last for so long. You know it is. I already know they're already in the works of moving their operation elsewhere. Nobody's checked out Evergreen. Nobody. Nobody has torn apart every shipment that Evergreen is shipping. Yeah, they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you it's radioactive. They're going to hide shit under stuff that you don't want to clean or move. Do it anyway. It's the same way they do the arms deals. Stop being lazy. Get out there and find it. Or you can be fired, and we'll do it. We should be allowed to do this anyway. We know more than you do.